This is a moment in Jewish history. My name is Benjamin Bresky. This week in Basel, Switzerland, thousands from around the world attended the 125th anniversary of the First Zionist Congress. It was here in August of 1897 that Dr. Theodor Herzl established the Zionist Organization, which led to the creation of the State of Israel a little more than 50 years later. This week, Jewish leaders from Israel and around the world stood in the same venue on the same day. But today, Israel is much more than the underpopulated third world locale it once was. Herzl wrote in his diary, "Were I to sum up the Basel Congress in a word, which I shall guard against pronouncing publicly, it would be this: at Basel I founded the Jewish state. If I said this out loud today, I would be greeted by universal laughter. In 5 years perhaps, and certainly in 50 years, everyone will perceive it." There were many newspaper articles at the time that indeed mocked the idea, such as The Times from Great Britain, which doubted whether membership of such a state could be possibly formed now in the Holy Land, in any sense of the realization of the prophets. The New York Times wrote on August 30th, 1897, "At today's session of the Zionist Congress, the delegates present unanimously adopted with great enthusiasm the program for reestablishing the Hebrews in Palestine with publicly recognized rights." Mark Twain, the famous American author of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, wrote the following: "Speaking of concentration, Dr. Herzl has a clear insight into the value of that. Have you heard of his plan? He wishes to gather the Jews of the world together in Palestine, with a government of their own." Today's chairman of the World Zionist Organization is Yaakov HaGoel. He compared the First Zionist Congress to a startup, of which Israel is known to be a leader of in the high-tech world. He compared Theodor Herzl to an entrepreneur who sought out early adopters and investors. Among the delegates were Rabbi Dr. Shepsel Schaefer of Congregation She'arith Israel in Baltimore, Maryland, and Rosa Sonnenschein, the publisher of American Jewess, a magazine based in Chicago with a circulation of 31,000. The Hebrew Observer of October 15, 1897, wrote, "Reverend Dr. Schaefer arrived home on Sunday from his trip to Basel, Switzerland, where he attended the Zionist Congress as a delegate. In an interview, he expressed himself as follows: 'The First International Congress of the Lovers of Zion has been held and is now a fact. I must say that the hours I spent amidst so many intelligent, noble-minded, and warm-feeling representatives of the nation count to the most precious and sweetest I experienced in my life. I deeply felt with the psalmist how good and how pleasant it is when brethren dwell closely together in union and harmony. May those who stand for assimilation argue in any way they want. They will never overcome that fact which is now marked with flaming letters in the annals of our history." Rosa Sonnenschein, in her American Jewish newspaper from September 1898, wrote, "Whatever the aspect of the Second Congress in Basel may be, it will be hardly equal to the first one in importance and enthusiasm. Last year, each and every visitor to Basel came there prompted by individual impulse to aid an inspired leader, imbued with the idea that the restoration of Zion was a possibility of our time. Numerically speaking, last year's Congress consisted of but a small band of representative Jews from all parts of the globe, but they were the ones who made it possible for Zionism to attain a wonderful growth in so small a period as 12 months. The confidence in a Jewish state as outlined by Dr. Herzl took possession of men and women who belonged not only to the Orthodox but also the Reform wing of Judaism. Impressed by the sincerity and greatness of the First Congress, Judaism now sends its delegates to participate in the Second. The question of women's right to vote and to participate in the debates cannot be preconcertedly shelved this time, as the Zionists of New York have delegated a woman, Mrs. R. Rothheil, to represent that city." Yaakov Hagoel, current chairman of the World Zionist Organization, has often noted that the Zionist Congress had voting rights for women before the United States and many other countries. Edmund Flegg, the French writer, attended the Third Zionist Congress. He wrote in Why I Am a Jew the following: "It was then that, for the first time, I heard of Zionism. You cannot imagine what a light that was, my child. Remember that, at the period of which I am writing, this word Zionism had never been spoken in my presence. The anti-Semites accused the Jews of forming a nation within the nations, but the Jews, or at any rate those whom I came across, denied it. And now there were Jews declaring, 'We are a people like other peoples. We have a country just like the others have. Give us back our country.' Since 1873, colonies had been founded there and were developing, and now a new apostle, Theodor Herzl, was calling upon the Jews of the whole world to found the Jewish state. Was this the solution for which I was looking? The Third Zionist Congress was about to open at Basel. I decided to attend it. My knowledge of German enabled me to follow the debates pretty closely. I listened to it all, but with even greater interest, I looked about me. What Jewish contrasts! A pale-faced Pole with high cheekbones, a German in spectacles, a Russian looking like an angel, a bearded Persian, a clean-shaven American, an Egyptian in a fez, and over there, that black phantom towering up in his immense kaftan, with his fur cap and pale curls falling from his temples. And in the presence of all these strange faces, the inevitable happened. I felt myself a Jew." This has been Benjamin Bresky for A Moment in Jewish History. To contact me, you may email bbresky@gmail.com. Thank you and shalom.